Welcome to our live learning session, Captioning Tips for Wirecast Users. I'm your host, Andrew Haley, and today I'm going to be talking about live captioning. We just had a big show on our Wirecast Live episode where we interviewed our product manager for our captioning products, Giovanni Galvez. We talked a lot about social media captioning and just sort of a good intro, I think, to captions in general, what they are, what they aren't, and different types. And we got into it a little bit on some of the standards and formats and regulations. So go back, check that out. If you haven't watched it, you can find it on our playlist on our YouTube channel, Wirecast Tube, all one word, Wirecast Tube, and you can watch that interview with him. And if you are still, if you are here to learn about specific tips that you can do when it comes to Wirecast and live streaming and live captioning, that's a little bit of a different ball game because it's tricky on how to do that. The gold standard is to get a stenographer, a human person, to be typing in your captions as your words as you speak them. That's going to give you the highest rate of accuracy when it comes to tone, voice, all of the meaning, all of that metaphor. So you can't beat a human typing things in. However, not everyone has access to a human steno machine. You could send your live stream to a third party and they will remotely author the captions for you. That's possible. Again, that can be expensive. There can be a delay involved. And then getting those captions on the stream can still be kind of tricky. There may be ways on the back end to hook up your player or do a sidecar sort of scroll for all the captions that wouldn't necessarily appear on the screen. So those are all some ways you can do that, and there are some services out there that do that. I don't have any for you at the moment that I can recommend, but I know that they're out there, and they definitely, if you look around or search for captioning or live captioning service or live captioning providers, you might find a few service providers that can help you with that. I'm not going to cover that. I'm going to cover the sort of down and dirty, cheap kind of captioning for now, as far as it goes for live captioning. You won't get the highest degree of accuracy. Now, if you don't care about live captions appearing on the screen, that's not a big deal, right? Then you can always correct the transcript after the live show. Use a captioning software like our Mac Caption or Caption Maker software. Telestream makes fantastic software for this. And then correctly check the captions real fast against your transcript, and then upload a perfectly transcripted and captioned video or even caption file to YouTube or Facebook. And then anyone who watches your videos on demand or later will have a great closed captioned experience or captioning experience. So that is the way to do that. And I will show you kind of how to do both real quick. I can't dive into too much detail because I'm not an expert on our captioning software. I want to train myself a little bit more before I do any tutorials on it, but I will show you some of the basics and where you can get started. And there's some great tutorials you can watch if you want to go further than this learning session will provide you. All right, so let's dive in. I'm going to show you real quick how, if you're streaming in Wirecast, so let's say we pulled up a Wirecast document here, and you're streaming to Facebook or YouTube or so forth, and you've got your document, and actually this isn't super, let me grab this, and just set the resolution here to make sure it's accurate. Okay, so let's say you have you've got your video Wirecast project. You're doing a live video broadcast to YouTube, Facebook, Periscope, wherever you happen to be streaming it, your Wowza server. How do you get captions on this? So the first way is how do you, without paying a third-party service, get some decently good live captions on the stream? Well, there is recently been, and some of you may have heard of this in the live streaming community, but there's a pretty good website you can go to that is free called webcaptioner.com. And what's neat about this is that if you have the Chrome browser, it only works with Chrome at this point, because it's using the Google Speech-to-Text API. And so all you need is a Chrome browser, and you need a microphone hooked into your computer, which if you're using Wirecast, you probably have one hooked in. So you'll see that there's this sort of blank website and just one button down in the bottom. And you can, if you click on this sort of, click on the arrow at the bottom of the screen, you'll see the appearance, language, and so forth. So first you can set what language you want the captions to be in. And apparently it's pretty accurate when it comes to that. It's got a lot of languages. And then let's talk about the appearance. You can set the appearance of the web page. This is important because you set where do your captions appear? Do they appear at the bottom, in the middle? Are they a lower third? And you can show, it shows the different layouts. If you do a full screen versus a bottom versus a lower third. You can also select your background color. So I recommend, you can change it to black, you can change it to blue, and so forth. I recommend setting it to green. The reason I recommend that is because you can chroma key this out and put your own nicer background on it. So that's a great way. Once you've sort of set that, and then you can even set your formats and your fonts and so forth, and colors and even shadows. So there's a lot of control that it gives you over just the formatting of the captions themselves. Once you're ready, make sure you have a microphone plugged in and that Google Chrome can recognize, and then just hit start captioning, and it will tell you if it's listening. And if things are working correctly, you should see a pretty good, accurate transcription in real time, more or less, of your words. And you'll see that it doesn't get everything right, but it does a pretty good job. If I was to ask a question like, how are you today? Then they might not necessarily catch the question mark or the tone of voice. So you could see it did say question mark, but anyway, you're going to have to make corrections to this if you actually want to upload an accurate captioned file later. But for now, this kind of gets you 80% of the way there. So here's the next step that you do. You're going to go into Wirecast, and if you want to pull this into your live stream, you just need to add a screen capture. So I'm actually going to clear the layers here, drag this down to the bottom to another layer. So now on the layer on top, I'm going to add this web screen capture. So I'm just going to screen capture the actual monitor or window itself. So I'm going to change it to window, and I'm going to point it at Chrome. And choose the Google Chrome application, and we're going to use the web capture, hit OK. And if you did that right, you should see it pop up right there. OK, hit OK, and there we go. So the next step then is to crop the top off. So we'll just crop that, maybe crop the bottom a little. And even you could crop all the way down to keep cropping the top down. So you really just have that 2 lines of captions there, right about there. Pretty good. Okay, next step is you probably want to chroma key it out. I mean, you could leave it green if you want. So if you put yourself, you have this green box in front of you. That's not bad. But if you do a quick chroma key on it, all the better, right? So we click on that, we use Chroma Key, and now you have pretty good transparent captions. You could put that on a Wirecast title if you want, on a background. I'm not going to spend a lot of time making it stylistic, but you'll see you're now basically streaming with a live caption in front of you. Okay, so that would be a burned-in caption to your video, and you would get, again, the accuracy would be okay, 80%, 70%. I'm not sure exactly if you want to do a number, but I'm sure it would vary from stream to stream and depending on how you talk. So that is a quick way to do a burn in caption on any platform live stream. And we've seen this popping up on other people's streams, like Paul from PTZ Optics and the Live Streaming Pros. I've seen it on several streams out there, and they're starting to use it. So this is a real quick way to bring this into your live workflow. Now, that's just the first step, though. You may not actually want this to appear. You just want to use this as a transcriptioning service. So in a sense, it's keeping track of your whole live broadcast. When you've started broadcasting, the nice thing about this site is it's actually giving you a live transcript of your whole show. So every word that I've said so far is being saved in a file, just a text file. And I can use that as, again, a roughly accurate transcript of my whole show. And I didn't have to type any of it. It's just like somebody was listening and typing my words and, not getting all of them correct, no punctuation, but at least you have a pretty good overall transcript to start with. And then you can proofread it, add punctuation if you want, correct mistakes, jokes, if there's a word choice that's incorrect. So when you're done with your live show, you basically, hit stop broadcasting. You're done with your show. You should be recording that show locally. So you not only are streaming it, but make sure you record a local video of that. And I'm just going to run a quick test here to show you exactly how this works, because I've been talking this whole time, and so I don't want to use this whole transcript. So let's stop the transcript, and you'll see I've stopped captioning. It's no longer following my words, and then you'll see you can save the file. Okay, so that's going to download a TXT file. If I open it, you'll see this transcript of the whole thing. It's literally like one giant run-on sentence. Okay, that is, that you have your work cut out for you when it comes to formatting that. But honestly, with our captioning software, you don't really need to be fantastic at that stuff. In fact, it's almost better to do the punctuation and correction in a professional titling software because then you don't have to spend all this time formatting it in a word processor. All right, so let's go to show you exactly what this looks like with a short example. So let's pretend I'm starting my show. Okay, I'm not doing a live caption or anything like that. I'm just gonna, gonna take that live. I'm gonna hit record. So I'm streaming and recording. Okay, and let's say I'm streaming as well. All right, and I'm going to start captioning again. This is just do a short example. Hey everybody, welcome to my show. Thanks for joining me. I'm excited to have you come see my show, right? And thanks for watching, and make sure you tune in and subscribe. All right, so then you're gonna stop and you stop recording. All right, now you have the two things you need to get this file captioned really well. You have a video file recording of your broadcast, and you have a caption, right? A caption document or a transcript. So at this point, you're just going to download the file. So hit save to file again, double click it. This is probably actually going to have everything that I said. So double click it, and you'll see that we're just going to grab the last part. So if we do a hey everybody right here, let's see, hey everybody, welcome to my show and thanks. Okay, so that's going to be my whole transcript. So we'll just start with that thing. So everybody, and I can even correct it. Hey everybody, welcome to my show. Thanks for joining me. I'm excited to have you, right? So that is the transcript. Let's save it as a TXT file, and we'll save it to the desktop. Okay. And hit save. All right. Now, we also have the MOV file, or the MP4 file, which should be on my desktop here. I'm going to pull this over, just find it on my desktop. Should be called Caption Test 01. If we watch it real fast, you'll see it's just a real short one. Hey, everybody. All right, perfect. So that's the file. We have our caption file. We have that, and we should be more or less ready to go. Now we just need software that can take the two, put them together, and we can generate captions, an automatically formatted, correctly formatted caption file from it. So let's go. If you're curious, you're going to want to try Telestream's Mac Caption or Caption Maker. So go to telestream.net, and you can download a free trial. Check this software out. This is what it's basically built from the ground up to do. Go to the products, go to captioning and subtitling, and if you're on Windows, select Caption Maker. If you're on Mac, select Mac Caption. Click that, and that'll take you to the overview page, and you can download a free trial. All right. And if you're curious how much this software costs, it starts at about $1,000. But you'll see that what it does is unlike almost any other software out there. It's very, very good at what it does. And again, I think we'll have Gio back on to give us a full sort of run through of it on how it works. So download the free trial and install it and just give it a go. There's, as we mentioned earlier, there are resources and tutorials, which I also will be watching to refresh myself. I've sort of learned a couple times, but never really got too deep into it. So it's, again, something I want to get better at. But once you understand how the software works, it's actually fairly straightforward to use. So there you go. You'll see you open the software, and what you need to do is open a movie file, right? So you're going to go open a movie. You need to open the two things you have. You need your transcript and your video. And then Mac Caption or Caption Maker takes care of everything else. So we're going to go to our desktop, grab Caption Test 1. There's my Wirecast recording from my broadcast. And then I need to import a file or a caption file, right? So just add a plain text file because the webcaptioner.com just generates a TXT file. So let's find the TXT file, which should be, depending on where I saved it. Yeah, sorry, desktop on, thank you. And we'll find the TXT file, which is right here. So that's our TXT file. You can see there's our simple transcript. Hit open. There's some stuff here that I can't tell you too much, but if you read through it line by line, it kind of tells you how many lines, how many rows do you want your captions. It's formatting the text to the screen and meeting the sort of requirements based on that. And you can choose, kind of get into that stuff there. And there you go. Depending on whether you're captioning or subtitling, you switch this button and it'll format it differently. So let's just pretend it's captions for the moment. And now the last piece to do is you actually see it's already popped in all the words from the transcript in 2 lines, and it's formatted them out. However, you'll notice that there are no times associated with any of this. So none of this has been matched to the words. Now, I could do that manually, but why do that manually when the software has a brilliant algorithm that matches the words in the transcript to an audio analysis of my voice? So that's really where the magic happens in Mac Caption or Caption Maker. It can automatically take the two things, the text and the voice, and match them. Once it knows how words sound, it has the intelligence to do that, and then it can just set a time based on with very, very high accuracy, do that automatically for you. So the next thing you're going to want to do is you'll auto timestamp it. So it's going to run an auto analysis, and again, this is about the limits of my knowledge with this, but I'm sort of dangerous enough to know this much. And so it should run an automatic analysis on it. And it's going to tell you that it's going to be decoding that. Here's the auto timestamp telling you when it's going to be done and how much confidence it has. And we'll wait for it to be done. And if it did the job right, you'll see now that there are timestamps on each one, and it tells you exactly how much. Now, what's cool about this software is that you can come in and correct anything you want. So like you say, hey, everybody, exclamation point. You can correct quick mistakes. And this is really the best place to edit your transcript because it's where you can add punctuation, because it chunks it out into bite-sized chunks, and you can kind of see your own speech pattern on what you said when, rather than one giant run-on sentence in a TXT or a Word document. You now have it broken out for you by time, and it's really easy to follow and make quick corrections. And you can do that. You can, even if you're decided that it's just on the screen a little too short or a little too long, you can, cut off a second or so forth. All right. So that's pretty much it. At that point, you can export, your time text file. You can export sidecar and caption files. You can export in ProRes, MOV files or MP4s with the captions already embedded in the file to a certain extent. So there's so much stuff that the software does, and it really hits every standard, every format. It's professional titling software, and you can see how easy it really makes your captioning. So that's kind of my sort of demo on how this works. I hope that's more or less helpful, and you can even preview the files and check to see if everything's working correctly and so forth. And again, I don't want to get too much into the demo of the software because I'm not the expert on this. We'll definitely do more tutorials with the software, because if you are interested in captioning at all, this is really how you want to go about it to get a professional one done. Now, of course, that works with any script and any pre-recorded video that you've done, whether you've streamed it live in Wirecast or whether you and generated that quick transcript from like the web captioner, or if you already had a script that you wrote yourself and shot in a file, and it'll just match those up and time them real fast. And then you can pop out the formats and the files you want. And as we mentioned on the show with Geo, you've got support for those caption files, which include the timing, the location on the screen, and the style of the captioning on the major social media platforms. YouTube lets you upload TTML, time text markup language files, captioning files that you've generated. Facebook also does, as well as other sites out there. So using this method, you can get really, really accurate, excellently done captions that you've previewed yourself and checked, and you've done it all in a few minutes based off of just a transcript that you and a video that you have. So lots more to talk about on that in future learning sessions, but I hope this gives you a place to start. Check out webcaptioner.com. Check out Mac Caption or Caption Maker if you're interested. Try the resources if you're interested in learning more, and I hope this was helpful, and we'll definitely do more, and I will see you guys for future learning sessions down the road. And stay tuned for some upcoming announcements and live broadcasts. If you are subscribed to us on our social media channels or on our email list, you'll get updates on when we're live and so forth. So thanks again, and I appreciate you watching. That concludes this learning session.